Let's face it, guys, nothing impresses quite like having a set of huge biceps, right? Just walk into any commercial gym and you'll see a line of guys standing in front of mirrors using free weights and doing an arm workout or bicep curls to try and get big guns. While almost every dude in the gym is passionate about filling out his shirt sleeves with muscle, a lot of guys make vital mistakes that prevent them from achieving that goal. This is because there's much more into building big biceps than just aimlessly picking up a weight and curling it. In this video, we'll probe into 9 training mistakes that are stealing your biceps gains and how to fix them. One of the primary functions of your biceps is supinating your forearms. While performing the dumbbell curl, many lifters mistakenly supinate at the bottom before curling. This diverts a lot of work away from the biceps being the prime mover for forearm supination. To fix this, you should supinate and curl at the same time to squeeze the biceps to do the dumbbell turning for you against gravity. This maximizes tension on the muscle, allowing greater activation and stimulating more gains. If you're gripping the dumbbell in the middle while curling, you're actually taking the force away from your wrists for supination, causing less activation of the biceps. Instead, think about moving your thumbs all the way to one side of the dumbbell for the curl. This forces your wrist into more pronation to the other side, pushing you to supinate with more counter force as you get to the top, triggering more bicep activation. The importance of the eccentric contraction is underestimated by many gym goers. Instead of lowering the weight in a controlled fashion while curling, they let gravity take it back to the ground. Remember that for the purpose of muscle growth, it doesn't matter how fast you lift the weight as long as you lower it in a slow and controlled manner. Numerous studies have shown that most of the muscle damage during training comes from eccentric contractions, which means lowering the weight incurs more damage to the muscle fibers than raising it. This is why it's recommended you spend at least 2 to 4 seconds with your eccentric movement for constant tension and more muscle growth for your biceps. Like any other muscle, in order to grow your biceps, you need to progress your curl. One way to do this is through progressive overloading. But instead of increasing intensity and decreasing volume like you do with compound lifts, you progress in a slightly different way with your bicep curls, being an isolation exercise by increasing volume first before increasing intensity. For instance, if you want to do 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps of bicep curls, choose a load that you can lift close to 14 reps and try to perform more reps each week. Once you are able to achieve 3 sets of 15 reps, increase the load and repeat. This is known as the double progression training protocol. But you might be wondering, why are you following a different progression scheme for isolation lifts? Because, unlike compound lifts, continuously adding 5 pounds from week to week to a single joint exercise like the bicep curl seems an unreasonable progress. Think about it this way. If you can perform 40 pounds of bicep curl and 200 pounds of squat for 5 reps, a 5-pound addition would translate to a 12.5% and a 2.5% increase in weight load respectively. Obviously, you cannot progress that fast with isolation exercises. A more reasonable way of moving forward would be by repeating the same sets with the same weight and only increasing the weight once you hit the upper rep range for all sets. Another mistake is performing the same curl using the same grip over and over again without including any variation in the routine. One of the main reasons lifters' biceps don't grow as big is that they fail to recognize that the bicep is actually broken down into more than one part: the short and long heads of the brachii and the brachialis. Getting full development of your biceps entails training all these areas. Performing exercises that involve moving the elbow in front of the body, like the preacher curls, spider curls, and chin-ups, target the short head of the brachii, while exercises that move the elbow behind the body, like the inclined dumbbell curls, behind the body cable curls, and drag curls, emphasize more the long head of the brachii. Isolating both heads of the brachii can also be achieved by varying grip width. For example, performing a wide grip barbell curl emphasizes the short head, while using a narrow grip focuses on the long head. Now, because your biceps are indirectly engaged in your back pulling movements, you don't have to include all these exercises together in your routine. Why? Well, Research shows more volume is better for hypertrophy, but only up to a sticking point where more volume would exceed your body's capacity to recover, causing more muscle protein synthesis to be used for repairing the undesired muscle damage than for hypertrophy. To avoid this, you could pick only 1 or 2 exercises targeting each bicep head and focus on progressing using the double progression method explained earlier. To keep challenging your biceps in new ways and continue making progress in the long run, you could mix up your exercises every 1 month or 2. You could also try supersetting 2 different curl exercises by performing them back to back, or use the drop set technique, where you start a curl exercise with a heavy set, then drop to 1 or more lighter sets whenever you are short to failure. And finally, many lifters tend to forget about the more important little muscle that is standing between their biceps and triceps and is the primary mover for elbow flexion, the brachialis. Emphasizing this muscle pushes your biceps and triceps further away from each other, making your arms look thicker and allowing you to curl heavier weights. To zero in on this muscle, you have to take your biceps out of the picture by lifting with your forearm in pronation. This is achieved by adding exercises such as the hammer curl, reverse curl, and Zottman curl to your workout plan for best results. Using momentum to complete a bicep curl is among the mistakes most commonly seen in the gym. This normally happens when the weight is heavy, causing you to bounce it off by swinging it up with an excessive hyperextension in your spine, then let it free fall down without any control. This results in taking tension off your biceps and shifting it all over to your back, which if done repeatedly may increase the risk of injury. Now, that doesn't mean taking momentum totally out of the picture. While your sets should all be done strictly in perfect form, especially if you're still a beginner, using momentum may sometimes be useful as an experienced lifter when you're slightly arching your back and you're doing it only towards the end of your set, on those last couple of reps when fatigue starts setting in while incorporating some body English. Squeezing those last cheat reps beyond failure may help you challenge your sticking point to lift more weight and increase intensity of your workout. Other than that, you should always keep your back straight and focus on only using your biceps throughout the curl movement. It's more effective to decrease the amount of weight you use and lift the weight slowly in good form through the full range of motion of the exercise. Another mistake is flaring your elbows out while doing the curl instead of keeping them locked in tight to your sides. Doing that actually engages your front and lateral heads of your shoulders and your traps, which is why you see lifters shrug before flaring their elbows because the weight is too heavy. Since your shoulders and traps are sharing the load, this once again takes the pressure off from your biceps. Flaring your elbows causes your shoulders to rotate inward, putting your rotator cuff in a risky position of injury. Unless you're purposely performing an exercise that calls for a partial range of motion, like the 21s, which involves performing low to midway, then top to midway reps to tax out the biceps, you should always perform your reps in a full range of motion by squeezing the bar into your body, then down to the point right before locking out your arms. You should not fully lock out your arms at the bottom, as this puts tremendous tension on your bicep tendon. Instead, leave only a slight bend in your elbow and ensure your triceps are contracted to trigger reciprocal inhibition to maximize biceps recruitment before curling the weight back up. Another mistake is letting other muscles take over as you curl. For example, while moving the elbows few degrees forward is normal and expected, driving them too far forward and curling the weight too high on top of your collarbones becomes problematic because it shifts tension away from your biceps towards your front delts. As a rule of thumb, your shoulders should not be involved in the movement and your elbows should always stay on the sides to keep the tension on the biceps. Another common way of letting other muscles share the load during the curl is shrugging by engaging your traps. This also takes tension away from the biceps and may be an indicator that the weight is heavy. To fix this, keep your traps depressed by bringing your shoulders down during the movement. Your forearms can also take over the load, especially when you flex your wrists at the top during the curl. This not only reduces tension on the biceps, but may also injure your wrists. For wrist stability and maximal biceps engagement, always keep your wrists in a neutral position throughout the curl. This is it, guys. Here is a summary of the mistakes we covered in the video along with their fixes.
Mistake 1. Supinating before curling. Fix this by supinating and curling at the same time on your way up. Mistake 2. Holding the dumbbell in the middle. Fix this by shifting your grip to one side of the dumbbell to push your biceps to supinate your forearms with more force. Mistake 3. Not emphasizing the eccentric. Fix this by lowering the weight in a controlled manner while spending at least 2 to 4 seconds on the eccentric. Mistake 4. Not making progress. Fix this by using the double progression protocol. Mistake 5. Doing the same curl over and over again. Fix this by training all parts of the biceps. Perform 1 or 2 curl exercises that move the elbow in front of the body and another 1 or 2 that move the elbow behind the body, and mix these exercises up every 1 month or 2. Incorporate supersets and drop sets, and don't forget to include exercises that target the brachialis. Mistake 6. Using too much momentum. Fix this by ensuring all your sets are done strictly in perfect form. If you're an experienced lifter, you may use slight momentum only on the last couple of reps to challenge your sticking point and increase workout intensity. Mistake 7. Flaring your elbows. Fix this by reducing the weight and keeping your elbows to the size of your body throughout the curl. Mistake 8. Performing in partial range of motion. Fix this by performing your reps in full range of motion by squeezing the bar into your body on top, then down to the point right before locking out your arms. Ensure your triceps are contracted at the bottom to trigger reciprocal inhibition. And finally, mistake number 9. Letting other muscles like the delts, traps, and forearms take over as you curl. Fix this by keeping your elbows to the side, your traps depressed, and your wrists in a neutral position.
Thank you guys for watching. If you're struggling in building bigger biceps, let me know your challenges or any clarifications you have on the video by leaving a comment below. If you liked this video, please like and share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're looking for a complete self-educational training guide that teaches you step by step how to customize your workout and meal plans using science-based methods to optimize your results, please visit my website or check the video linked up. Also check my next 2 videos on how to bench press properly for bigger chest and how to overhead press properly for bigger shoulders.